Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Melanin Margin, the weekly chat show where conversations about race are never off the table. We're your hosts, Quaviondre Williams.
And Daquon Wilson.
So let's get into this week's conversation. What's hot on the table this week? In an article from HuffPost by Ben Blanchett, we learned that Tom Holland recently announced that he will be taking a hiatus from social media. In a 3-minute video that the Spider-Man actor posted on his Instagram, Holland states, quote, "I get caught up and I spiral when I read things about me online, and it's ultimately very detrimental to my mental state. So I decided to take a step back and delete the app," end quote. This is not the first time the actor has announced a temporary departure from social media apps like Instagram, nor is Holland the only celebrity who has recently announced that they're taking breaks from social media for the benefit of their mental health. He goes on to show his support for apps like STEM4, a teen mental health advocacy group, stating, quote, "There is an awful stigma against mental health, and I know that asking for help and seeking help isn't something that we should be ashamed of, but it's something that is much easier said than done. So hopefully these apps can be your first steps towards being happier and healthier," end quote. So Daquan, as someone on social media, do you ever notice the negative effects of it on your mental health?
Constantly. I am constantly thinking about this because, like you said, I'm somebody that's on social media a lot. And when you're on social media a lot, it really can envelop your life. Your real life, quote unquote, gets conflated with your digital life, and there's so many problems that can arise from it. Specifically, being somebody who's in beauty and makeup, you see so many people posting looks all the time, looking flawless, as they should, because they're gorgeous. But that can really take a toll on you as you're scrolling and seeing look after look after look and being like, can I do that? Like, can my face hold that look? Or why do I have texture like here and all of these different things? And that can play a big role in how you see yourself. And I also think that another part of being on social media a lot is just analyzing your skin and your face and your body to the umpteenth percent. I am constantly looking in a mirror or looking at my phone and like getting very close to like my eyes, my nose, like all of these parts of my face to make sure everything is blended and looks good and put together. But I'm also picking up on, oh, there's a bump right there, or there's some texture right there. I'm starting to get fine lines here, and that can really just spiral into a lot of self-image issues. Or if you're somebody that pans out a little bit more and shows your body, that can lead to body issues. So yes, I notice the negative effects of social media all the time, and I'm constantly thinking about it because that's the reality of the world and the reality of what I'm doing currently with the career and passion that I have.
Yeah, I think social media can be an incredibly toxic place if you aren't able to navigate it properly. It can be especially difficult when you struggle with mental health issues like myself. I mean, one of my biggest triggers on social media is, like you said too, Daquan, comparison. I mean, when I was younger, I used to look at other people's social media pages and see their massive follower count, their engagement with their audience, their romantic relationships, and their accomplishments. And it used to make me feel like shit. I mean, I used to wonder what I'm not doing to get where they are. And it used to send me down a depression spiral of insecurity. I mean, I'd wonder why God or the universe hadn't let me run into that career opportunity, why I didn't have that kind of support for my career, and why I didn't have a romantic partner in my life. And it was a long time before I was able to get out of that comparison stage of my life. But what really helped me out of it was breaking down the illusion of what social media is. Now, in theory, social media is a place where you can showcase your life and the things that you've been through. But in actuality, social media is the highlight reel of people's lives. I think social media, much in the same way as I watch scripted dramas, right? Like when we watch action shows like Buffy or Avatar The Last Airbender and Charmed, we are watching a compilation of all the protagonists' most significant moments every episode. We are seeing them defeat the antagonists, go through major breakups, deaths, new relationships, marriages, children, and so on. We're seeing the big events, but we don't see the lulls in their life. You know, we don't see episodes where Buffy is just sitting in her room for hours doing homework or studying for the finals. We don't see Avatar Aang and the rest of the gang just lounging about with nothing to do. And we don't see the charmed ones filing their taxes or doing spring cleaning or some shit. And why? Because we're not watching TV for the lulls in life. We're watching TV for the stakes, for the entertainment, for the highlights. No one posts about the 2 hours it took Mary Sue and David to struggle to get their kids dressed and get them to stay still long enough to take a picture. No one posts the hours of character work and study, the weeks of auditioning, and the months of waiting for a callback that Jack had to go through before landing that role in that TV series. And Mary Sue didn't post David is a serial cheater and has put her through so much heartache. No. She posted a picture of the two of them smiling to celebrate their 10-year marriage anniversary. So when I look at social media, that's how I take it in, as the highlights of someone's life and not as a representation of their entire lives. And that's how I kind of learned how to manage the negative effects. But I think this brings up an interesting question, Daquon. Like, what do you do to balance both your mental health and your social media presence?
I think one of the biggest things, like you said, is creating some type of separation, finding some type of balance between, all right, these are the times that I'm going to spend on social media. And it actually makes you more organized and use social media more effectively when you know that, all right, from this time to this time, that's when I'm going to scroll to, look up trends and find things that I want to post. From this time to this time, I'm going to spend that time recording. And I'm going to have specific days or maybe even a week, 2 weeks, however long of I'm not going on social media at all. I don't want to record. I don't want to look at things. I'm just going to take some time for myself. And I think that those breaks that you take, you learn so much about yourself and how social media is affecting you by how you respond to not having it. I remember so many times when I was like, okay, I got to post every single day. I got to post 3-4 times a day. I got to do this, and that at this time, and this time. And then I started getting more lenient and being like, okay, I still want to post 3 to 4 times a day. If it's only 3, that's fine. If it's only 2, that's fine. That's still a big accomplishment of posting something. And, I want to have material all the time and post every single day, but if I need a weekend off, if I need a week off, if I just need some time to myself to not think about posting or replying to comments or checking my analytics, studying trends, doing any of that stuff, I deserve that time. I deserve that time to disconnect, to just, take care of me, because at the end of the day, the thing that people are following me for is me. So if I'm not here, I can't be posting, and it doesn't matter what type of social media presence I have.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that one of the main ways that I balance my mental health with social media presence is exactly how Tom Holland has done it. You know, like you said, taking breaks. I mean, social media presence can be difficult because when you're still trying to build a brand, you have to stay relatively plugged in. Like, I hate when people say, well, just don't read the comments. And I'm like, well, Kyle, that's easy for you to say with your 1.3 million followers and thousands of comments. But for those of us who are working up the ladder, we don't really have much of a choice. I mean, many social media networks use engagement as a means to determine whether or not to push our content out into the algorithm. I mean, we've seen that on TikTok, one of the best ways to make a video get more traction is by responding to a comment with the video, because not only will you get the viewers from the people who watch the original content, but you will also get the new viewers because you posted something new. I mean, even YouTube uses comments and likes to dictate whether or not to push your content out further, because they are seeing that people are liking what you're doing. And a downside to that is the fact that in reading and responding to people in the comments section to boost your traction means that you are inevitably going to run into a hater or a troll. It's the price of being involved in the social media industry. And this is why taking breaks is necessary, because even though some of us can't afford to just forego social media altogether, you have to know when you're reaching your limit before you burn out completely. Like, I also understand why it's especially difficult for people in Black and POC communities to take necessary breaks. I mean, hustle culture is a big part of communities who are not white. The idea that we have to work twice as hard to be half as good. However, what I've had to teach myself, especially as someone who is in a creative field, is that you cannot control when things will happen for you. I think a lot of us struggle with the fear of, what if I don't post today? And it turns out to be the day that I finally pop off, or when my song reaches the ears of a record exec, or this is the day that I write the chapter that's going to knock an agent's or our publisher's socks off. So because of that, we think that we can't miss out. We think we have to keep going every single day, because what if today is the day where everything changes? And then you realize that it wasn't that day. So you keep pushing off the break time for tomorrow or the next day or the next day. And before you know it, you have no days off. I've had to unpack my own irrational fears that if I don't keep working every single day, that tomorrow my talent or my chances of new opportunities will somehow vanish. That if I wait until tomorrow, my small window of opportunity will fade forever and I'll never get the success that I'm so hungry for. And in the real world, opportunities come and go. And there is no way on earth to gauge whether or not the stars have aligned just so for you to get exactly what you want. I mean, you can't control when or if you blow up, but what you can control is how you take care of yourself and your abilities. Your creativity is a muscle, and like all muscles, yes, you need to stretch and work out so they remain healthy, but overworking them can cause strain, or worse, damage it forever. You have to give yourself breaks. You have to take time for yourself so your creative juices have time to relax and recharge, so they come back rested and ready to tackle the next project you've got coming. You're not failing yourself when you take breaks. You are just taking a moment to prepare yourself for the greatness still to come. But Daquon, do you agree that it's difficult for Black and POC communities to take a break from work?
Absolutely. I think that it's even harder for us because, like you said, a lot of times we have to engage with that cancel culture. We have to work 2 times as hard to get half as much. I mean, we see all the time that there are creators who can blow up for nothing, literally just standing around and doing nothing, or doing a little quick dance or anything like that. But the POC creators who create those dances or create the sounds that become viral or all of these different things, they don't get the same recognition that the creators get.